you to sound like the heroic sleeper, the celestial sleeper, the dreamer. You approach the pavilion, the place I warned you about. The air smells sweet. At the threshold, you abandon your belongings. This will be the last time. No more. No more. I've been having a lot of early mornings this week. Up at 5 or 5:30 for 7 a.m. shifts. It's still dark. I go through my routine. Today I shaved. I've had scrambled eggs and toast every morning for at least 7 years. But I've only gotten into coffee this year. The flavor still feels very novel to me. It's kind of fun treat. I've been rewatching this Polish TV show, the Decalogue. One thing I really admire about it is how much time is spent showing the characters dealing with the cold and temperature regulation. They're boiling water for a bath, wearing coats inside. You can see their breath, the sweat of a fever. Feels very humbling. I like getting a chill, wearing a blanket, feeling sometimes at mercy. In the summer, you can, fly on the wind and fuse with the world, fuse with the general collective mythology. But to do so in the winter would mean certain death. So we find our own shell inside of a coat with a pair of headphones and build our personal mythologies. Winter is our time to get weirder and more specific. I saw a collection of short films from Winnipeg, all of which had very experimental, unique style. And there's a lot of questions about why Winnipeg in particular draws this approach, this taste. And a lot of the answers seem to be about isolation from the rest of the country, the cold. I also think the vast majority of possible films that could be made would be called experimental films. Narrative fiction storytelling is a standardized mythology. It's a table that we can all have a seat at and come to some sort of agreement about characters and themes. But for me to understand your personal mythology, it might take new sounds, new images, new constructions of color that's completely native to your mind. And that, written out or modeled in any way will seem irrational, but when you assemble them together, I can watch it and say, I know what you mean, even if I can't put it into words. and you can't put it into words. I know what you mean. I was there. And this thing we can't put into words, it felt normal. It felt obvious. And that's just like one of the best things. I recently had such an encounter with a film called Panic Bodies by Mike Hoolboom. It's from the late 90s. It's a 6-part mosaic, a collision of imagery and sound in different styles, approaches, art forms, media, a lot of which wasn't specifically intended for this film, but found itself diverted into this main river, the kind of thing someone feels compelled to make when they know they're dying, which is what Mike Hoolboom was at the time before new treatment for HIV saved his life. But I'd say it recognizably has that last flaming quality to it, which was very arresting, but at times also meditative. I saw the film on not much sleep, and the second part was a collage of very striking imagery, and I was right on the border of consciousness, which gave the film a kind of sacred quality. I would open my eyes and each image was a fresh world I was hatching into. It was a great film to invite into such a sensitive mind state. Mike was at the screening. He told a story about someone whose personal mythology gave him a new way of seeing the world. I recognize that kind of transfer of power and lens as one of the most special experiences you can have with another person.
My friend Tom Chamont, was a New York filmmaker. He lived in New York City. I would go down, I would hop on a bus and go and see him and hang out. I mean, he was a magical person in many ways, but, he had this tiny, tiny kitchen. If, there would be two of us at a table, and if we wanted to open the fridge door, then, one of us would have to, take the chair and go to the other room, and then, etc. He was a prodigious talker. He had like my mom, he had a photographic memory, so he could recount every single instant of his life and his brother's life. As he would tell these spellbinding stories, and then his eyes would get a little wide, and it would be late. And then the room would start to fill with light. And he would start smiling because he could see that I was seeing, what he was doing, or something like that. And it was such a beautiful feeling, this rapturous glow. It was an incredible gift, that he gave me. And after that, I was able to see it other times. For instance, in the waiting room for my doctor in Vancouver, in the early 90s, these incredible people that decided, after all those endless years of medical school, that they were going to look after people that were HIV positive, when most medical professionals, they wouldn't let you through the door, and there was no treatments, really, and so all the patients were going to die. The waiting rooms were very intense, and I could see, because Tom taught me, how all of this light was coming from these bodies, and even as, so many of us were just fading away or flaming out, but still there was this light that came from bodies that were dying, and it was a terrifying place to be, and also very beautiful, profound.
feel like I want to nap all the time. Being cozy is so like romanticized in the winter, but also like coziness leads to sleeping, and so it just means you're hibernating, you're just sleeping the whole time. And I don't know, I'd rather be more productive.
I sleep so well. I can tell you don't sleep well.
Really?
Yes. You're not getting enough rest, brother. So what you should do, especially when you have to get up early, you have to go to bed early.
What is that?
That one is me using my massage gun, the percussion massager, and massaging my chest, and that's the sound it produces.
Okay. Why do you have a massage gun?
Because it helps to release the tension from my muscles, and because I swim a lot, so I try to massage myself for recovery. That's why I have my massage gun.
Pretty absurd volume.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, do they want other people to hear it and appreciate it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the only fun they're getting is like the risk factor that, you know, they might attract a neighbor here and have to deal with an altercation.
Shazamming it.
T Grizzly.
T Grizzly.
Featuring PNB Rock.
PNB, I've not heard of that. Let's go to the Catholic school and listen to T Grizzly. At 2 in the morning.
Could that possibly be it's freezing cold.
See, it was like -3. T Grizzly's keeping them warm.
I was realizing how many libraries in the city I'd never been to and felt kind of embarrassed. I went to the reference library for the first time last week. The next day I found myself at the Lillian H. Smith branch. On the top floor, the librarian showed me a desk they had from the 17th century. The librarian pointed at one specific name and said that his knife was confiscated 7 times before he completed the etching. But he completed it. I found myself at this little cafe with really cheap omelets surrounded by elderly people. It was 4 or 5 of them, mostly women, but one man, and they were talking about their lives. One of them had a giant book cataloging their hometown. One of them said they were from Winnipeg. One woman saw me reading Carl Jung's Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and told me about how she had been a member of the Jung Foundation in Toronto. She was a groupie for them, she said. I was amused at the idea of a Carl Jung groupie. These conversations, experiences, were not recorded because I either didn't want to bother the people or I wanted the moment to be ephemeral. So you'll have to take my word for it. Are you imagining what the lady's voice sounded like in your head? Or is it just me? Yes, I came to this library to read Carl Jung's autobiography, Memories, Dreams, Reflections. I read a third of it a few years ago, but something has called it back up to me now, and I'm finding I understand it much more,
all this talk of personal myth today was influenced by this reading. He talks about the childhood dream that would preoccupy him for the rest of his life. It reminded me of my own formative fever dreams I'd had as a child, which were so overwhelming and cataclysmic I would put them alongside major life events. Also, I'm reading my grandfather's copy of the book. He passed away a decade ago and was very interested in Carl Jung. These days I wish I could talk to him about it, but reading his copy of the book gives me some piece of that dialogue, as I can see which passages he's underlined and think about what drew him there. Inside the front cover of the book, he's written page 199, Self. From page 199, this dream brought with it a sense of finality. I saw that here the goal had been revealed. One could not go beyond the center. The center is the goal, and everything is directed toward that center. Through this dream, I understood that the self is the principle and archetype of orientation and meaning. Therein lies its healing function. For me, this insight signified an approach to the center, and therefore to the goal. Out of it emerged a first inkling of my personal myth.
Thank you for listening to this episode. You can write into the show at donovanesquepod@gmail.com. Thank you to Mike Hoolboom for giving me permission to share his Q&A audio. I think I've said enough. I'll leave you with my friend Caleb covering Bob Dylan.
Pretty fun.